Hello and welcome to my personal top 3 enhancements of 2024. There's obviously an absolute ton of enhancements goes into this software every single year, so it's kind of hard to pick, but here are my 3. I've managed to narrow it down, and some of them might seem quite simple, but geez, they're effective. And I think the reason that I like these specific changes so much is because they are so user requested. Anyway, let's get into it. We've got a little assembly open in front of us here. Actually quite a nicely put together little assembly. It swivels up top here. If anyone's ever done some Solidworks training, you might recognize it. We use it for quite a few things. Anyway, Solidworks 2024, if we go File, Save As, we're not going to mess about here. Let's get right into the good stuff. If I go in here, File, Save As, in my Save As type, we now get the ability to save it as a previous Solidworks document. Something that you thought would never come into Solidworks is here. So we've got the option now going as far back as 2022. Now the only thing you want to be careful of with this is that you're not using any future version features, and by that I mean, you know, if you've got something in here that was only added in 2024, obviously we save that in 2022, it's not going to open correctly in that software. So just be mindful of it, and hopefully this is an enhancement that we're going to see continue as the years go on. So hopefully by 2030 we can still save back to 2022, who knows? Next up, when we had an assembly like this, or its sub-assembly of the base here, as you can see, if we wanted to save this out and work on it as one collective model rather than an assembly, a part in other words, our best option was to use the Save Bodies command. However, in 2024, we now have a much better option. If I go up to the tools bar here, what I've now got is Make Multibody Part. That's right, we can actually make a multibody part from an assembly, and obviously doing so has a number of benefits. Firstly, by being easier to work with if we need to edit a bit further, and secondly, from a performance point of view, it tends to be a little bit more efficient as well. Multibody parts will generally open and work a little bit quicker than full-bodied assemblies. Now, this Make Multibody Part menu here is actually very useful. It allows us to choose what we want to bring through. So if it's going to be surface bodies or axes or planes, coordinate systems, I'm just going to choose our material here. And you'll notice this as well, break link to original assembly. We can actually sever the link from that original assembly and give this part a completely different identity. Look at this also, propagate from the original assembly, the visual properties of it. Again, the choice is ours. I'm just going to hit OK on this, allow it to take over the material, and there we go. We have now got a multibody part of that original assembly, which I still happen to have open here. And what's also really good about this is any changes that we make in this part environment are going to propagate through to the assembly, so you can be sure that everything's going to stay in date. You're not going to end up with a model which is an old revision. For the final enhancement, I wanted to give this video a bit of range, so let's talk about the drawing environment, and let's pick out an enhancement from this area of the software. Now, I've got my new sheet. I'm going to create a new drawing view with a dimension of this torch, so let's do exactly that. Let's pull out our little side panel here. Let's just go for a top view for the moment. There's my torch. Okay, perfect. Smart dimension. I'm going to go from this top point here down to the very bottom, and we'll drop that in. Okay, so nothing untoward so far. However, if I now return back to that assembly and I suppress out this added little lens cover, because it's an optional extra on the torch, and then return back to that same drawing, as you would expect if you've used Solidworks for any time, we've now got a dangling dimension, because the reference where that was once referring to no longer exists. Now, previously this could be a little bit tricky to try and get reattached, but in 2024, if you right click on a dangling dimension, we now have a reattach button. Now notice this, it puts a little red X on the point of the dimension which is dangling, and from there we can just simply click a new reference, it'll reattach, and it's literally that easy. As I say, seems super simple, but think of the time that's going to save you if you tend to create drawing sheets and then make design changes down the line. I think we all do that. Now, thank you so much for watching. That has been my top 3 enhancements of 2024. I will create more videos with more enhancements, and we'll also do some more in-depth reviews and tutorials on these features as well. So do hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop a comment below. I'll see you next time.